Welcome to section 3 and where we're going to talk about tools. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go into the project files here. We're going to download my lovely picture. So if you go to the Move Tool video, which is number 4 under section 3, click on resources and click on profilepicture.jpg and download that, and let's save it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this. And I'll bring over my downloads folder here, and I'll right click and we'll open this with Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the picture itself. Let's make sure I got the right one here. Let's see. Okay, right there. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this on the desktop. Let me minimize that for a second. I'll minimize that and I'll right click and paste it right on the desktop. So that way I have the file if we need to use it. Now, the whole purpose of this image here is so when we go through the tools, we can actually have something to work with. So you get to look at my lovely face, the entire course, and you can Photoshop me any way you want. If you want to change the color of my beard, if you want to change my skin tone, the color of my shirt, the color of the background, if you want to, make me bald from my spiky hair, whatever you want to do, this is the perfect image for you to do that because it's got a white background, which makes it really easy to edit and delete the background and requires very little photo editing or photoshopping, and it'll just be fun. Okay, so that's the whole point of this course, is I want to make sure that you understand that I want you to have fun with this. I don't want you to stress. I don't want you to freak out. I want you to have fun with it, and I want you to send me some of the stuff that you do. So send me some stuff on Udemy and say, hey, I photoshopped you and I cut your hair off, or I gave you spikes, or I turned it purple, or whatever. Whatever you want to do is cool, man. I'm cool with that. So there you go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Move tool. Now, when we talk about these tools, we're not just going to talk about the first tool. I'm actually going to cover every single tool in this panel here. So the Move tool has 2 tools in it. So it has the Move tool and the Artboard tool. But the reason why I categorized it as whatever the main tool was is that way, instead of making 4 lectures, we make 1 lecture and talk about all 4 tools. And it relates because it's in the same area. So I will be using keyboard shortcuts once in a while, but you will see a keyboard shortcut appear down here, which will show you, and I will always state what I'm doing so that way you know and understand, okay, he's doing a keyboard shortcut. I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum, but I'm going to tell you, the more that you can learn about keyboard shortcuts, the easier Photoshop is going to be. Now, I understand that if you're just starting out, that's a lot to take on, and I don't want you to stress about it. What I'm saying is take the course first, and then after you take the course, then learn the keyboard shortcuts. Learn the techniques first, learn the fundamentals, and then come back and learn the keyboard shortcuts. Okay? So the first tool we're going to talk about is the Move tool. So there's a couple things you need to know about layers in Photoshop. This picture right here is the only layer in this document. So right now, it's not even a Photoshop document. We're actually, it's a JPEG. So if I were to save this as a PSD file, we could do that. Let's do File, Save As, and let's save it on our computer. You can also save it to the cloud, but I'm going to save it to your computer. And what I want to do is go to Desktop, and we're going to save this as a Photoshop document. Okay, so I'm going to hit Save. Now, what you're going to notice is whether it's a JPEG, a PNG, a PSD, any file format, when you bring it in, if you only have 1 layer, what it's going to do is it's going to automatically lock it. That's the default for Photoshop 2020, and it's been that way for as long as I've been using Photoshop, and I've been using it a lot longer than Photoshop 2020. I'm just going to date myself and tell you that I've been using this program since 2004, and I absolutely love it. So I hope that you kindle that same kind of love once we're done with this course. And if you have any questions, let me know. Okay? I'm happy to help you. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to unlock this layer. So there's a couple ways to do that. One way you can do it is it's not showing my text here, but when you hover over this, it's showing in my other screen, but I'll tell you what it says. indicates layers particularly locked. Now, if I double click, it unlocks the layer and then opens up the layer style, which we don't want to mess with right now. So that's the first thing. So always remember, when you open up a Photoshop document for the first time, if you bring a photo in, you're going to have a layer locked. Okay, so I'll show you one more example and then we'll talk about the move tool. If I open up Web Large and we turn off artboards because I only want one document, you can see right here, background, and it's locked. Okay, so that's just the default in Photoshop 2020 and just in Photoshop in general. Okay, so I'm going to save this. I'm going to hit OK. And now what we're going to talk about is the move tool. So with the move tool, it does exactly what it says it does. You can move around your object. Okay, so if you want to move me around, we can go left, we can go right. You can move me wherever you want to. And, you know, you can get really creative here and you can, you know, cut my neck off and kind of move me up and, you know, do random stuff with me and, you know, really get creative, you know. So if you want to do that, that's cool. But basically that's all the tool is. All you're doing is you're just moving the object around, okay? And one way to do it is up here they have a automatically select a group or layer by clicking on the visible pixel. So what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that when you do this, that you have to select the layer. So I'm going to make another layer real quick. So let's click on the plus sign here. So when I make another layer, and let's do this. Let's select layer 1 and delete it. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to duplicate layer 0. So it'll be layer 0 copy. So I'll hit OK. And now when I move this around, it'll work. Okay, good. So that didn't work. That's good. So what I want you to get used to, there is an option where you can turn on layer select, where when you click on an image, it'll grab that item and then you can move that. But what I want you to do to get started, I want you to select the layer over here. And the reason why you want to do that is when you have 100 layers and you're selecting this and then selecting that and selecting this and that, it messes up your flow totally. So that's what I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to delete layer 0 copy, and that is the move tool. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to save this document. I'm going to leave this page open. And now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the artboard tool. Okay. So what we need to do is create another document. So we're going to do file and we're going to do new, and I want to select web large, and you can see over here, there's an option for artboards. Now you're probably wondering, okay, what's an artboard? Why do I need it? Okay, so an artboard is this. This is an artboard right here, okay? And if I go and I right click on the move tool and I go to the artboard tool and I highlight this, I just highlight the whole thing, then now I have plus signs on all 4 sides. And what that gives me the ability to do, if I'm building a website, if I'm designing a website and I want to have multiple pages on one document instead of having, let's say that you're building a 20-page website, right? And you want to build the layout and the content all in the same document instead of building 20 documents. Because I'm going to tell you, it gets a little annoying when you're building a big project and you got to go through 15 different files to do the same thing where you could just do it in one document. So if I click on this plus sign here, it's going to create artboards. So let's build a 10-page design, right? Let's just frame out a 10-page design. So what that would include here is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And what that did was it created 10 artboards so that we can move and see it actually brought one over. So if I move that down, now I have 10 pages because before I only had 9. Okay. And what it does is it will equally divide it up. So when you add a new artboard, the spacing between the two will be the same, right? So what it does is it gives you the ability if you wanted to build a 10-page site and then you wanted to have subpages for each one, what you could do is use the artboard tool, and if that works, hold on. Okay. If I hit the plus sign, okay, now I can go down. Okay. Then if I go here, okay, I can do the same thing. I can go down. Okay. So if that's my drop-down menu for page 1, and then page 2's got, you know, this many, and page 3 doesn't have any, and page 4 has 2, right? Then I can lay this out. Now, what does this have to do with photo editing? It doesn't have anything to do with it, but remember, we're doing tools. So it has a lot to do with tools, because I want you to understand each tool before we even get into photo editing, because if you don't understand the tools, it's going to be hard when I'm saying, oh, let's use the lasso tool, or let's use the move tool, or let's use the marquee tool, or the, you know, this one, the magnetic lasso tool, etc. So the idea behind this is this makes it easy to lay out web designs, app designs. You could do storyboards with this for video. You could do a lot of different things with this. So this is a great tool, and it's one that they just started adding recently. Before this, the only time I'd seen artboards was in Illustrator. I'd never seen it in Photoshop, but they started to implement it in as they kept going. So that is the artboard tool. All right. So what I'm going to do, we're going to close this document out. We're not going to save it. We're going to keep this picture of my lovely face up. And in the next video, we're going to talk about these tools right here, the rectangular marquee tool, the elliptical marquee tool, the single row marquee tool, and the single column marquee tool. And let's see what kind of mischief we can get into with photoshopping my lovely face here. And I'm excited to see what you're going to be doing to me. Like, what shirt am I going to be wearing? What kind of hat you're going to add? All that stuff will be a lot of fun. And like I said, have fun with this. I know that this is kind of the less exciting part of the course, but again, this is a crucial part in understanding photo editing. So the more you understand about the tools, the easier the photo editing will be, and the more fun you're going to have with that. Okay? So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.